A rough day for the show. I'm just letting you know. My buddy sent me a message. He said, I can't wait to see the show. It's going to be full of hijinks. Think not, my friend.
Not really.
It's been a rough go. Nick, do you want to bang the table for old time's sake? Okay, that's not. We start with a rough day in Kansas City.
Don't show this.
Mahomes leading a drive down 3. He tears his ACL on this play. Minshew comes in and looks for Kelsey, but finds Derwin James instead. Chiefs are eliminated from the playoff hunt. Mahomes on social media after the game thanks Chiefs Kingdom for their support and says, quote, I will be back stronger than ever. A lot of emotions and feelings. Nick, which one do you want to start with?
Well, listen, this has been turned into, in relative short order, post-bye, a nightmare season. And this was the nightmare scenario of a nightmare season. And Pat had been dealing with a knee for weeks. He'd been on the injury report the last few weeks. The Chiefs' season were on the line. Even if it wasn't on the line, I don't think he would have missed games. He's the only time he's ever missed a game in his career was when his kneecap got dislocated and he missed 2 weeks. So he was going to play no matter what. But he's been week 1 of the season. We talked about, man, he's taking a lot of hits.
Yep.
He's running a lot. And I understand this is not an injury that feels like it's the accumulation of hits, but I don't think the accumulation of hits helped. Yeah. And so I also, talk a lot about the Brady-Mahomes career comps. And on Friday, I was on your pal, maybe now I can say our pal. You're a good pal and my somewhat pal. Bill Simmons' podcast and said, and I think I've said on this show before as well, that in year 7, Tom Brady walked onto the field in the Super Bowl trying to win ring 4, and if they won that game, they're the greatest team of all time. And in year 8, he blew out his knee. In year 7, Patrick Mahomes walked on the field in the Super Bowl trying to win ring 4, and if they win that game, they're the greatest team of all time. And on Friday I said, Patrick didn't blow out his knee, but it looks like the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs. Right. And now he has also blown out his knee. That I guess is a silver lining in that the best version of Tom Brady was post ACL. And, I don't want to reveal much of this here. I'm not sure it's just the ACL in his knee. And I have talked with Patrick in that he is, as the tweet illustrated, gutted, but optimistic that he will be back and as good, if not better than ever. But the only way this season going the way it did, the only silver lining was going to be Patrick got out of it healthy, and Patrick did not get out of it healthy and instead suffered a massive knee injury. It is what it is. I mean, Packer, let me say one other thing quickly. Sorry, Brou, I know I'm kind of rambling. Packer fans today might feel sicker because what Chiefs, this doesn't help Patrick, but what Chiefs fans have is this team didn't have it.
Yep.
They weren't 10-3 like, we were going to win the Super Bowl. That doesn't make I don't think that makes Patrick feel better. But if you're a Packer fan this morning, you might feel even worse, like you did have it. So it's pro football, man. There's injuries and it sucks, and that's part of it. This being the face of the league and one of the greatest players in the history of the league makes it all that much worse.
Well, look, I mean, my pick for the NFC is the Packers, and I'm going to stay on that pick. I still think they're a good team, but obviously without Micah, it's very much an uphill battle. So, we don't want to lose. As we focus on Patrick, obviously another great player in the league was hurt too. But, we joke around a lot on the show, and I like the Chiefs. I love Mahomes. But I would have been looking forward to, if they were missing the playoffs and under normal circumstances, really, having some fun. But the way this went down, I mean, every football fan, I don't care if you're a Buffalo fan, a Ravens fan, whoever, you got to be sick with the way this happened because not only is it the best player in the league, but I think what this highlights is some things about him that we don't talk about a lot, which is his toughness. Like you said, he was playing with a knee injury, all right? But you heard more, and I get it, Justin Herbert has surgery, but you heard more about his wrist. You heard more about Aaron Rodgers playing with the fracture. You heard more about Lamar, even though we weren't even sure what exactly it is with Lamar. We knew Mahomes had an injury, but I think because he has played through so many, he's played through turf toe, he played through the dislocated kneecap, he's played through the high ankle sprain. We kind of we gotten used to him playing through it. And he was out there, man, his toughness, he was doing everything he could to just get this team in the playoffs. Everything he could, and we talked about it all year. The running that he usually saves for the playoffs, he was doing all season.
It's the only touchdown they scored yesterday.
Yeah, right, scrambling in there. And so
getting lit up.
Him, and you mentioned it lit up. So the toughness is the first thing. I mean, of all the things people think about with Mahomes and his greatness, his toughness should not be, discarded. Sure. All right, that needs to be something thought about. Secondly, you mentioned him getting hit. So last year was his personal high in sacks with 36. This year, he had 34 in 14 games. So he was likely going to break his personal high in sacks. So the last 2 years, he's been taking way too many hits. This year, this according to Bill Barnwell, he's been hit 153 times. That's sacks and quarterback hits. Only player quarterback that's been hit more is Justin Herbert. Yep. So I think when you look at what this means for the Chiefs going forward, and it's not their fault. Their four tackles, top four tackles got hurt. But they got to try to shore up that offensive line. I think they got to shore up the run game. He hasn't had a legit run game in a while. Yeah, and it's related to the O-line. But if the O-line's healthy, it's probably pretty good. But the run game, you can't just put all this on him. And then what's this mean for Travis Kelce? I think many people would think this might mean he's going to walk away.
Of them together.
Yeah, so they got to replace that. So it's just tough for it to go down this way. Because even if you didn't want the Chiefs in the playoffs, nobody wanted this.
Where does your worry end? So Mahomes gets hurt, game's over, season's over, playoff hopes over. Is next year? Are you saying that's over?
So listen, I'm not saying next year's over.
Okay.
It's season starts 9 months from right now, 8 months and like 25 days-ish from right now. I think if there is anything underrated about Patrick Mahomes, I think one of the underrated things about him is what a competitor he is.
Yes.
And his potential unhealthy thirst to be the greatest in the moment and potentially all time. So I think he will attack the rehab in a way that, again, a surgery has to happen. The surgery has to be done right. There are things beyond one's control to where his plan will be to be available week 1 of next season. Now, does that mean next season is a lost year? I don't know. It depends on the player. It depends on the injury. Quarterback, Adrian Peterson blew out his knee, had his greatest season ever the following year. Brady blew out his knee, had his worst season as a veteran the following year.
And it was early.
Right. He blew out his knee against the Chiefs in week 1. This was week 15. But still, it was still the worst year. So I don't know how to judge that. What I am ready to say is this. This is the end of this chapter. And you can put these 7 years up against the 7 years prior to this one, up against any 7 years in NFL history.
Oh, yeah.
It's 7 years. It's 7 conference title appearances. It's 5 Super Bowl appearances. It's 3 rings. In a 7-year stretch, only the Steelers have more rings in a 7-year stretch.
But Bradshaw isn't as good individually.
Right. But I mean for the team, because I think this is the chapter for a team. Like the Chiefs are now going to be entering a new era.
Yeah.
Now
Like starting fresh on a dynasty, or if something does happen.
Well, they could extend it.
They can
it could be
extend
like
it.
But this is a line in the
This is a
sand,
line.
obviously.
This is a line.
It's going to be a new regime to some degree.
Right. And so,
players.
listen, Andy will still be there next year, I believe, and the year after. But at some point in this, there'll be a new coach. Travis, either yesterday was the last game with Travis and Patrick together, or next year will be. They also, I think, and again, I'm searching for silver linings. Mm-hmm. I think the next few weeks are going to force the team to hold a mirror up to how much 15 was holding together. Because I believe they are going to lose to the Tennessee Titans next week. I believe that with this offense, I think the combination of the offensive line injuries, the deflation of we've played nothing but the biggest games imaginable, to now we've got meaningless games, to the drop-off from Patrick to Minshew, like all of that will come together on the road in Tennessee, that's a game they lose. And here is the reality about the 2025 Chiefs that you hope they recognize for the 2026 Chiefs. They weren't good enough at anything. They had moments. There were moments and there were flashes, and because of the pedigree, I believed more than anyone. Mm-hmm. But after the bye, they played poorly every single week.
Yeah.
They got one win. They were down 11 entering the fourth quarter of that win against the Colts. They played poorly every single week. And I think that in this game, I woke up yesterday morning like, beat the Chargers. Colts are going to get cooked. The playoff scenario that I had laid out is going to be in play. And when with 40 seconds left in the first half, you let the Chargers march the field to score a touchdown, I'm like, yeah, they don't have it this year.
Yep.
They just don't have it. And so you hope that, Brou, the long offseason, what might end up being the 10th pick, the third place schedule, all of those things, like next year the Chiefs will play the Colts, either the Bengals or the Browns, either the Falcons or the Saints, plus Arizona, the Jets, Miami, and a couple games against, maybe they'll be good next year, the Raiders. And so, there are things, and I do think they've rebuilt the offensive line. It just got crushed by injuries. They need their young receivers to develop in a way I thought they were going to this year. And they need, and this is also, and I'm curious your take on this, I wonder how Patrick attacks a season where he's not quite as mobile and what that does to his game, and I think that could be a positive.
Yeah, and how the team is built.
And how the team, I think that there could be long-term positives too. A season or half a season next year where Patrick's like, man, I have to stay in the pocket. I have to play like this. Mm-hmm. That can be beneficial long term.
He's rarely had to play that way.
Correct.
Not just the scrambling, but actually just extending plays where he threw the football.
Exactly.
So it'll be interesting.
For what it's worth, I tried to find some sort of precedent, and obviously everybody's different. Kyler tore his ACL December 12th. He had surgery January 4th. He came back November 12th. Yeah. So 335 days. For Mahomes, that would be November 14th next year. And I know you say like week one, big difference between week one and mid-November.
Well, if he comes back in the Chiefs,
well, they definitely shouldn't rush him back.
They won't. He has not yet had the surgery. He's getting a second opinion today in Dallas. I am going to go ahead and put whatever little bit of money I have left after losing all these Chiefs bets on Patrick Mahomes is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs Week 1 starter next year because of the player, because of the way I think he is going to treat this offseason and this rehab. There's a lot of stuff there. And it's the face of the league went down. And to your point, Brou, you could argue the best player over the last half decade and the best or second best defensive player over the last half decade both went down within a couple hours of each other to torn ACLs.
Oof. All right, moving on to the Ravens. Baltimore shut out Joe Burrow and the Bengals to get to 500. Lamar completed 8 passes, Brou, 2 for touchdowns. Ravens offensive point total helped by a Joe Burrow pick 6. Brewer, your Ravens back.
Well, out of respect for Nick, I won't say it with too much gusto, but the box. I could have really said it a lot harder, but the box.
Brew, don't spare me anything, please.
Teammate.
All I have now
I'm the
left.
only one on the show who's winning. The Patriots went down.
He's talking about week 15.
Just right. I'm in the present.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't think I'd be bringing out the robe anytime soon, and I'm not getting too high because I need the break dancers. They probably don't like me because I called them break dancers, the Dolphins, but I need them to do me a favor tonight.
You think?
And beat the Steelers. All right? They can. They've been playing well, Dolphins. So they need to beat the Steelers.
Are you putting this on?
No, I'm just going to hang it up. It's musty. It's been down in the basement.
Down in that basement.
I'm going to hang it up and get it ready because if Pittsburgh loses tonight, and then they got your Patriots next week. Favored.
You're favored.
The Ravens are favored?
Correct.
Yeah. Really?
Exactly.
Shocking.
And how come?
That is shocking.
Okay, then why are you making fun of me?
No, I'm shocked that they're favored.
Yeah.
I don't think it helps the Ravens. I think they can definitely beat the Patriots, but I don't think it helps them that the Patriots are going to be coming off a loss. I think that, I think they're kind of due for a loss, you guys. But look, the defense, some of that was maybe Burrow is despondent and who knows where his head is at because after the game he talked about, he just didn't sound like he was really into it. He may be checked out right now. But still, a shutout in the NFL is a shutout in the NFL. And that defense played well. I thought Nick Lamar, he looked good. No, I thought he looked good. He only ran twice, but that was a positive sign.
Completed 8 passes, bro.
He only threw 12.
I know. That's right.
But the passing was good. He had 2 touchdowns. 2 of his 8 completions were touchdowns. And one of them, the interception, Zay Flowers just, hit him in the freaking chest. Yeah, just dropped the ball. And so I thought Lamar threw the ball well. He obviously broke out of his 5-game slump. He had a 111,
114.
114 passer rating. So I thought the run game for the second straight week, last week Derrick Henry 94 yards, this week 100 yards on just 9 carries. The other, rest of the running game was strong too, Keaton Mitchell. So I look, again, I don't know where the Bengals' head's at, but I thought it was one of their better performances in a long time. And friend of the show, Kyle Van Noy, I like the unselfishness. To let his man take it to the house.
So I thought it was a great game, obviously, by the Ravens defense. And overall, this is the most complete game they've played this season that Lamar's starting. The only game that comes close to this is the Bears game, but Lamar didn't play. But and again, Ravens fans can be mad at me. It's fine. I did not think this was like, Lamar's back. They dropped back to pass 16 times. He was sacked 4 of them. He threw a pick. Like you said, the pick was bad luck, but that's the passing, whatever it is. They had 8 completions against what I believe to be a not impressive Bengals defense, KW. I know that.
But you
say theoretically 17 points.
Okay, sure. And so to me, this game was about Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
I agree.
And it did not, to me, confirm the Ravens are back to being a scary team. The Ravens are back on track because we had been all year taking almost for granted if the defense gets right, they're going to have this potent, scary offense. And I just feel like we still haven't seen it. Absent the pick 6, Brew, they score 17 points on offense.
But you don't think Lamar played well?
No, I don't
think he was vintage Lamar, but I thought he played well.
No, listen, I don't think Lamar played poorly. Let me make that clear. And it certainly was the best game he's had since his first game back from injury.
Right.
But it wasn't a game where I'm like, okay, that slump is over. And so it's just a weird stat line. 8 for 12 for $150, along with 4 sacks. He ran the ball twice.
26
and
yards.
so I feel like I will take Baltimore seriously if they win next week. And if they don't win next week, there's a very real chance that their Week 18 game against Pittsburgh doesn't matter. Because if Baltimore loses next week, we can be in a situation where Pittsburgh can just, or if Baltimore loses New England and Green Bay, then Pittsburgh would just need to beat Miami and Cleveland. They can even lose to Detroit, and the Week 18 game won't matter. And I didn't see anything from the Ravens yesterday that made me feel like they are ready to play in the contender class, which is where New England's supposed to be and where Green Bay has been.
I like the commitment, though, to the run. Like, I've been saying all week, if Lamar is struggling, run the football. Because they have a good run game. They always have a good run game. And so I thought they did that yesterday. So, you know, get a balance. I mean, I hear you. I'm not shouting from the rooftops that they're back. But here's my hope. We've seen them have tremendous regular seasons and then fizzle out eventually in the playoffs. I'm hoping that this adversity, they got to obviously get in the playoffs, but this adversity that they've gone through, it will still get them ready for the playoffs. And look, if I'm them, and I know you don't, you feel like you can beat anybody as a professional football player. But Lamar himself said the Chiefs were his kryptonite. Now, I know he's walked it back, but they're gone. And so if you're a Raven, you got to be like, look, let us get in here and make a run.
And I also might be, this was also a very weird game because I know there were a bunch of games going on at 1 o'clock, so I don't know how locked in people were. The Bengals had the ball for 40 minutes. The Ravens had the ball for 20, which is why the Ravens, you mentioned they ran the ball well. They ran it at a great clip for 189 at 8 yards a carry. They only had 24 rushes. They only had 12 passes. They had 4 sacks. They had like 40 offensive plays in total, so maybe that is...
They were scoring a little quicker.
Right. They were scoring quicker, and then the Bengals were having these drives. Burrow turns it over. To me, if we didn't have, you know, the teams that we focus on because there are picks or whatever, the biggest national story coming out of this game is whatever fire was going on about the Bengals and Joe Burrow, to me, Wilds, it got bigger. Because his, you know, he took full accountability and said a dozen times, everyone would have lost with me playing that way. That was on me. It was on me. But when during the week he's like, if I want to keep playing, and then on Sunday, in an elimination game for them, he plays as poorly as I've ever seen him play as a pro.
First time he's ever been shut out.
Yeah, right. And it was directly related to his mistakes. That, to me, was concerning.
Patriots were up 21-0. Get the T-shirts and hats ready. Actually, don't. Josh Allen and the Bills scored 5 consecutive touchdowns. And trust me when I tell you, Josh Allen wasn't the only one puking in the second half. Patriots had 18 offensive snaps after the break. Granted, 1 was a touchdown. So that was nice. Thank you. Greg Jennings is here. Does anyone else agree with Stephon Diggs that the loss was actually good?
Absolutely not. Like, maybe I would if we weren't one Pats game removed from discussing them as a dynasty and demanding that they be considered the cream of the crop in the AFC, the team that can make the Super Bowl from this conference. Had we been treating the Pats all year the way that I think Stephon almost is, which is this is a great year to build on, then it'd be fine. But they have been, by force of your own personality, thrust into the waters of contender. And if you are playing to stay alive for the number 1 seed, of which they are now mostly dead in. Your favorite athletic playoff predictor says they have a 3-time greater chance of losing the division than getting the 1 seed.
Because the Broncos look so good.
And so they win your division, lock that up, and announce yourself as a real contender, and you're up 21-0 in your building. Losing that game is devastating. And it was not because as you explained it all week, listen, if Josh Allen goes sicko mode, nothing anybody can do. Josh Allen had a very
pretty close to sicko mode.
Buddy, how many yards
and
he had?
Travis Scott was in the building.
Buddy, he had 190 passing yards.
No, that dude was being a sicko.
That is
I think
a
he had,
very typical
he was in double
Josh Allen game.
For the first half.
That was a very regular Josh Allen game. And you guys got walked down from 21-0. That was an awful loss given how it played out and what it does to your guys' ability to be the 1 seed, lock up your division, and go on a playoff run.
We probably lost the 1 seed. I'm okay with it. Lose the battle, win the war.
What war did you win?
Learning, the most important thing in the world. So here's how we learned, or here's why I think it was good. First of all, Stephon Diggs said it was a good learning experience. Christian Ellis said it was a good learning experience. And Vrabel said it was a good learning experience. And me. And I think, Greg, I'm going to throw the ball.
What are they going to say? They're going to be like,
right, exactly.
Like what?
Yeah, you
can't lose that way.
Yes, you can.
Yes, we head into the playoffs. That's what it.
You can easily say we did a lot of things wrong, but it was consistent. Hey, we haven't lost in 80-something days. We had 10 straight wins, so that's good. Number one, Drake May has still never had a fourth quarter comeback. He gets a little more experience. Granted, this whole run
He's still never had a fourth.
I know. He's gotten, but we've lost. He's like the Titans was last year, but we lost in overtime. We haven't even been down in the fourth quarter, so he hasn't had the opportunity. So that's good. He gets a little more experience. 2, we have a huge red flashing warning sign that finally needs to be sort of paid attention to. Dusty, can we show our red zone defense? This is frankly horrible. So it's very strange, Greg. We don't really let you get into the red zone, but if you do, you're going to score a touchdown. So I don't know how it can be addressed schematically, but it's the biggest flaw, biggest fly in the ointment of the Patriots' success. And finally, we're due for a loss. I told you. We need to get this loss kind of out, get everybody refocused in the playoffs. I don't think anyone's...
So you think Broncos fans should be crestfallen today?
No.
Because they're in the exact same spot, the exact same winning streak, exact same part of the team, and they beat a real contender.
They did.
And so they should feel badly?
I would rather have won the game, but I'm not destroyed with a loss that we lost by... We split the series with the mighty Buffalo Bills. We lost by 4 points, a few pass interferences here or there. You told me we couldn't run the ball. How did that go?
I didn't tell you.
You told me, I said we can run the ball. We choose not to. We ran the ball.
You ran the ball great to the tune of a loss.
Yeah, but it's something that's not an issue.
Well, first of all, Wilds, I don't get the logic of Drake got a chance to lead a fourth quarter comeback when he didn't lead the fourth quarter comeback.
But he got a chance. But you agree with the idea that he has to go through. Your whole thing about the Ravens is have some adversity and maybe they pop in the playoffs. I don't want to go 7-7, but I don't mind going 11-3.
Well, I would agree. A loss in and of itself doesn't kill you. The things I didn't like about yesterday is, number one, Nick pointed it out, you're not going to get the 1 seed most likely. That would be huge. And this is the year. It's not about, I get building, because if you guys lose in the first round, whatever, you'll still go into next season with optimism. But it's wide open now. Bo Nix doesn't have much playoff experience either. Trevor Lawrence, it is wide open. They should be thinking, win the Super Bowl this year. Look at Washington. We thought they were rolling, right? Now they're not even in the playoffs. It is a year-to-year league in a lot of ways now. So that's number one. Now you may be looking at this Bills team or Houston in the first round.
I would love to play this Bills team a third time.
Okay.
I would love it.
I bet you'd love a bye more, though.
Sure.
So that's
we don't get the bye, fine. But that is like a.
And then I didn't like the way it happened.
Problems.
You're up. When you guys, I'm going to give you something. When you were up 21-0, I'm sitting there thinking,
yeah,
they look like the best team in football. Like
so
they could
Wilds.
win this thing.
Wilds was sending memes out.
You can't
help
help
his son record and make videos.
I felt good until I saw there was a stat panel that Josh Allen had negative passing yards. I said, ooh, that's not going to last all game. So I started to get nervous.
Yeah, this was a good loss in the sense of
Let's
now
go, Super Bowl champion Greg Jennings.
Mike Vrabel has their attention. Like, you guys can miss me with the number 1 seed stuff. Like, it's great. Don't get me wrong. That's a goal for every team. But just because you don't achieve that, so what? We're going to be in the dance. We got a chance to do something special. That's going to be the mentality of this team. But it's a good loss because when you continuously win, and there's very few times when you have an approach of when you're preparing as a team, and this is a very well-prepared team, that you're always going to be looking at it from a way of how can we improve, or how can we not make this same mistake, and all those things. Because naturally, when you're having success, you're looking at how can we impose our will on them the same way we did last week on that last team, in the same way we've done for the last 10
that's why
weeks.
we're doing trick plays
So
your
approach is slightly different. I'm not saying that they haven't been taking it seriously, because I believe that they have. But when you lose to a division foe, you're up 21-zip. Now your coach, the messaging is going to hit home, because you saw all the high fives, the smiling. It was like the game was over in the first half for a lot of those Patriots guys. And one thing we know about this game as players, you don't assume it's over. You ensure the job is done to make it over. And that's what happened in this game. So now Mike Vrabel can just say, guys, we got to learn to finish. When we get in these positions, we must finish. What better time than at the end of the season, when the season is winding down and every team is harping on finishing. How we finish matters. They are 11-3. They can afford a loss like this. It's not a terrible loss, because in their mind, and when they're sitting in those meeting rooms today, they feel like we let one get away. And they truly did.
Before we move on to the Bills, I just want to.
Yes, absolutely.
Hold on.
I just want to make sure I understand if we're because there's a difference between there being positive things to take from a loss, and a loss being good. So I just want to make sure that I understand what Wilds and Greg are saying.
Sure.
What you guys are saying is, up 21-0. It's better what happened than if you had just held the lead and won.
No. What we're saying is, a win would be excellent, but a loss is good.
So no.
What I'm saying
That's what I'm saying.
So
we can live with a loss, and we'll learn.
So nothing. So
yes,
I
would say that.
I'm
not. Okay. Obviously, wasn't sitting there with a Bills hat on. I would prefer to win, but it's the way we lost. We didn't turn the ball over a bunch of times.
That's what would make me more nervous, to be honest.
That we didn't turn the ball over?
They walked you down.
Right. That they just flatly said they spotted you 21.
Right.
Yes.
Josh did not do anything crazy.
I totally disagree with you on that. Josh Allen was MVP mode.
He played well.
Listen,
he definitely played
Josh
well.
Allen was you said that if Josh Allen goes, what were we calling it last week? Superhero mode. I consider a 240 total yard, 3 touchdown game from Josh Allen, shy of his superhero mode. And so I thought, obviously Josh Allen was really good. But it was right. But in the totality of the game, like you said, he had negative passing yards early. Totality of the game, that was like an A- overall Josh Allen game. And you didn't turn the ball over. And they beat you, or you did actually. The one turnover you had, you liked too.
But
they just, to me, showed we're better than you guys. And that's what would concern me, is that it didn't take anything crazy. It wasn't something aberrant. It was, they returned a kick and we had a tipped pass turnover and we fumbled it in going into the end zone.
I like that.
Instead, it was just, they just lined up and beat you. That's what would worry me.
And you know what? Good to study tape on that. Why it was good. Meanwhile, for the Bills, they get their 10th win and pop up to 3rd in the Super Bowl odds. Here's the list. Rams, Seahawks, Bills tied with the Broncos. Eagles, now look at the Texans surging. Yeah. And then the Packers tied
Why can't
with
we
the
make
Patriots.
it 9 deep?
Why?
Jags. Jags.
Jags, nice.
Oh, the Prince.
I mean,
17-1.
That's your new go-to now.
What do you do? Go to?
The Jets, I don't know about
He
too much. The
What do you
Jets.
conveniently
talk
forgets how he dumped the
I
Prince.
never dumped him, but go ahead.
Greg, you want to start? Do you finally believe the Bills can win the Super Bowl?
Of course, absolutely. This is a team, again, that I picked to represent the AFC. And when you have not only the biggest X factor, but the most clutch X factor remaining that will be in the postseason, both NFC and AFC, in Josh Allen, why not? We just saw what he was able to do last night or yesterday in that game in that second half. That is why this team is a threat to every team and any team that they come up against, because of what they have, which is the advantage we all deem the most important position in football at quarterback, Josh Allen. When you go into a game and you feel like you have the best quarterback and he's that type of an X factor and he's that type of a clutch performer, and you look across the board and you're gonna have Bo Nix in the postseason, you're gonna have Drake May in the postseason, you're gonna have potentially an old Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, who we know struggles to perform in the
Who you leaving
postseason.
out?
Like
Trevor.
Prince.
Trevor,
Exactly.
potentially,
Exactly.
obviously, CJ. Like, you feel like in the AFC, we definitely have the best quarterback in these against any of these teams. In the NFC, they have Stafford and obviously Hurts and those guys.
They feel good about
They
it.
feel good about it.
Yes.
Because you have the most important, at the most important position, we got the best player remaining. Yes, this team is just fine.
No, I agree with everything you said, to the point where if they don't at least get to the Super Bowl, and if they get there and lose, they're going to be sick anyway. But if they don't win the AFC, they should be sick. And I'm not saying it's the Bills up here and everybody down here. I'm just saying you've been knocking on the door forever,
And it's wide open.
and the guy that's kept you out is no longer there. And even if the Ravens get in and Lamar's cooking, they've beaten the Ravens in the playoffs. So they should. This, as much as I would love this to be Lamar's year, and I'll hold out hope for that, but Josh Allen has been better in the playoffs than Lamar. This should be his year. And if they don't get to the Super Bowl this year, they should feel sick. With all due respect to Drake and the Patriots, who are very good, the Bills got to do it this year.
Go ahead, KW.
I'm not trying to be a troll. Record this season when trailing by more than 10 points. They were down huge to the Ravens. They were down huge to the Patriots. They were down 10 to the Bengals. The Broncos are 2-0. The Bills are 3-2. The rest of the NFL is 12 and 138-1. So to me, now you can say that, hey, you know what? That's the magic of Josh Allen. Sure, but I don't know if this is a recipe for success in a lose and you're out game. I'll give you one more thing, and then I'll let you go. This is a tweet from Brent Coleman. The Bills have allowed 185 yards rushing 6 times this season, and they're 4-2 in those games. You can just gash the Bills on the ground.
And that's what's scary.
Them.
You guys ran for 250.
We scored
lost.
31 points.
Yeah, and
so
lost.
if Josh puts on his cape, that will win. But that's the only option.
But you keep saying that.
James
He's
put on his cape a lot.
James Cook is going to win the rushing title this year, right? Like James Cook is going to have like 1,600 yards rushing this year. They can win by Josh Allen putting on his cape. They can also win by Josh Allen doing what he did yesterday, which is having the cape on for about a quarter and a half, and James Cook and other things being it.
It was still Josh on those third downs.
Yes, listen.
You got to have
having
great
the superstar quarterback is the reason people believe in the Bills. But you 15 minutes ago, you in passing called the Bills a very good team. Is that now what you think?
They are an excellent team.
Okay, so
but they get gashed on the ground.
But that means
they are going to run into a team where Josh has a slightly off game, or if the pass interference goes one way, it's like, man, what happened to the Bills? And they'll be in their postseason said, obviously we can't stop the run, and it doomed us.
It's a small margins league, but our wildly popular, very well done by Gianna walk-in videos a week ago.
Yeah.
You were bellowing, the Bills are not good. So now do
being
you
hyperbolic
believe?
about
no,
that.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to.
I have said everything from they're excellent to they're very good to they're okay to they stink. So pick one.
No. I know that sounded like I was being a jerk. I really didn't mean it to. The point that I'm trying to get to is this. Last week when we argued about it, I think you had them like 4th in your AFC hierarchy. I said we named them down. Now that you have seen them do that to New England, do you think, like it seemed like prior to this game, you would have been shocked if they went to the Super Bowl?
No, I think they can Luka Doncic their way to the Super Bowl.
Okay, I swear to God, I'm not trying to like.
I know, I do not think that is a recipe for success, but it can get you to the Super Bowl.
So you don't think they can win the Super Bowl?
But when they lose, it's going to be because a team runs for 200 yards, controls the clock, and one play goes the other way, and Josh can't do enough.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.